Hello everyone, this is Priya Randewe and Infinite Potential. So today's topic, public speaking, my dear friends. I know that a lot of you are scared of really speaking in public, and even the topic really gives you jitters. But trust me, it's just not you, but statistics prove that at least 54% of population over the world are so phobic of public speaking that they would rather die than speaking in public. So you see, it stands amongst the top 10 fears of any human being. It is that scary. And it's not just limiting to you, me, or any individual, but even the best in this world have been through the journey of this phobia of effective public speaking. So, to name the richest man in the world, Warren Buffett, was so scared of public speaking that he didn't even attempt to answer a single question while he was schooling. And that's because he didn't want it to grab any attention towards him with an intention of looking like a failure in front of public because he couldn't speak. So, but in his journey of being an entrepreneur, he realized that not being able to speak effectively was really holding him back from his achievements and growth, and that's where he enrolled himself for Dale Carnegie effective public speaking course. Now, anybody who doesn't know what Dale Carnegie is, it is one of the prestigious universities over the world on effective public speaking and business communications. So, do your research on that. So, he enrolled himself and immediately dropped out because he was so phobic that he wouldn't even attempt a training on public speaking. It's only the second time did he really set an intention and managed to pass it, which was then followed out by training a small session of investment students. So he, at a very young age, realized that it was blocking his growth and it was very mandatory for his profession and his dreams that he learn the next of public speaking. So, it's not come easy to even the best of the best, the role models and the icons. And trust me, even today, even the best of the trainers and speakers are still phobic of public speaking. It's only the start 10, 15 minutes of any of the sessions that they fear it. Otherwise, it is a cakewalk. And anybody who says that, oh, I'm so confident that I know I'm going to hold a session and I'm going to crack it, then they're possibly lying. And trust me, that fear is very important. Why? Because it gives you a little stress. It gives you a little pressure to perform better. I mean, how many of you have not studied for an entire year while you were in school or college and just managed to pass an examination by studying one day prior to the exam? How many of you? I was one of them, literally. So why does that happen? That happens because now you know that there's no time and you better pull up your socks, and that's how you become serious. It develops some pressure on you, and that's how you perform even one day prior to the exam, right? So you see, pressure and fear is not always bad. It protects you, it guides you, and it puts you on your toes. That now is the time that you have to get going. So fear is very important to excel into anything in life. Without fear, you wouldn't do anything. We wouldn't do anything. We'd just be sleeping back in the house and do absolutely nothing. So, fear is extremely important, all right? So now let's see, why is it so crucial and why is it so challenging for any person to really get into this domain of public speaking in the first place? That's because for a simple reason being, there's an instant response. Okay, so when you're speaking, you might fear that people are not liking you, they don't like your content, and they're sleeping, they're not proactive, they are not interested, or even worse, they might even throw tomatoes at you, right? So what happens? It directly hits your self-esteem there and you feel rejection. Now, rejection, my dear friends, as a human behavior, nobody likes it, and therefore this is one domain that you might experience something like this, and therefore it is so scary for most of the people. But there are ways that you can actually overcome this. So any of the best of the speakers or the trainers in today's day and world have mastered the art of overcoming this fear. It's not that they are not fearful, they have mastered an art of overcoming this distress of public speaking, and learn some techniques which I'm going to tell you in this session today. So let us see what are the probable ways that one can really learn effective public speaking. So let's first identify what are the reasons that one could be so phobic of public speaking. Number one, it's because the fear of unknown, okay, unfamiliarity. You've never been there, you've never done that, you don't know what the public speaking is all about. That's one thing. Number two, you've been there, done that, you've seen some people failing, but unfortunately you've not received a good response, so you don't want to attempt that again. That automatically has instilled some kind of fear into public speaking. Number three, language barrier. I've seen some people being extremely confident and proactive with public speaking in their native and local language, but not the universal English language. So that could be one of the barriers, the language barrier. Number four is the content. Now, nothing beats content. Your content has to be so strong that you're able to engage the audiences. So it is the very foundation of any forum of public speaking. So if you don't have that in place, that might give you a little fear of being into that zone. And lastly, you've done all of these, but yet you're a little fear of public speaking. So how do we address them? Okay. So these four fears, which I just mentioned in the start, I categorize them into a special category, and that is BETP, the before event thorough preparation. Now, treating any public speaking as an event, we will have some techniques to develop our public speaking skills even before the actual event. Okay, so addressing them one by one. Number one, unfamiliarity. You don't know what public speaking is all about. Now let me ask you a question. I mean, when you are entering into a corporate world for a job from a college student, now you know that this transition is not going to be easy for you from just being that person who would manage to pass exams and who was careless, didn't have a lot of responsibilities, and then entering into a corporate world where performance is going to be measured and you're going to be paid on that, right? So just because of the fear of the transition from a college life to a corporate life, don't you attempt getting a job for yourself. You do, right? Likewise, it is for public speaking. Okay, it is just one of the zone that you have never experienced, so you feel uncomfortable with it, but trust me, it's not that scary. Okay, it's like, rather than thinking that what would happen if you fail, you need to think what would happen if I manage to do that. If you manage to do that, you're really going to triumph one of the biggest fears of human being, and you're going to be one of the least amongst the people who are into public speaking and manage to do that. So that would be amazing, isn't it? So one thing is, you need to first attempt, you need to have an intention that you need to do that, because some point in time, my dear friends, all of you are going to be into some domain of public speaking, be it amongst 10 people, a huge forum, or anything. If there could be jobs or there could be profile when you're not literally into public speaking, but trust me, if there are chances, you wouldn't even take it because you're so scared of it. And what happens is, in reality, public speaking, effective public speaking, gives your career at least 50% of competitive advantage, which is a fact. So if you thought that you would never do that, try attempting once, because that will automatically enhance your own skills and development, and there's nothing better than that. So number one, set an intention that you want to do that. Okay. Second, you've been there, done that, but you've not had a good response, or you've seen people failing in public speaking, and therefore you don't want to attempt something like that because you feel insulted or rejected for whatever reasons. Now my question here is, have you ever seen a child, trying to walk, falling 100 times, and then saying that, okay, I failed in this, I don't want to do that anymore because I don't want to fail again. Now in this case, it never happens, right? It never happens. So you have to be a child, you need to prepare yourself mentally that you don't know what fear is, you don't know what failure is. It is just an attempt that I'm trying to make myself better. It's as simple as that. So just because something has gone wrong in the past in your sessions, instead of thinking that as an episode of failure, treat that as an episode of improvement. So go out to the audiences and tell them what has gone wrong. Take that feedback, take a constructive feedback and improvise them. It is as simple as that. Okay, so you have to be childlike, where you don't know what failure is, but you need to attempt that unless you are able to crack that. It is as simple as that. So it is just a mindset change that you need to do here. All right, so don't fear that, attempt it, learn from your mistakes. All right, review. Nowadays, any public speaking forum or any of your videos and any videos, you have a recording available, right? So record yourself each time that you're doing this, so that you know where you're lacking, what are your areas of improvement. Once you're able to identify that, it's very easy to work on them. All right, number three, language barrier. Now, a lot of people are effective with a native language, but not the universal English language. So what do? Go and get yourself a training in that. Nobody can help you. I mean, if Warren Buffett can do that, so can you. Okay, I'm not saying that if just a certification would help. What would help you is an instant practice on an everyday basis. And of course, you need to practice with people who are better than you in English. If you're going to try and attempt practicing with people who themselves don't know what English is, then you're only going to make more mistakes. All right, so learn from people who are proficient with the English language, and read as much as possible. Very important. So if there are any things or any words that you're not able to understand, please Google their meanings and try and apply them in your everyday conversation, so that you become more effective with your sentence framings, and that will help in your English communication. So you already know the effective communication. Your only barrier is English then. So once you learn English, it is going to be much simpler for you, right? Okay, so learn the English language, get a certification, and practice as much as you can. Fourth, content. Now, let me tell you one thing, that any effective public speaker or trainer in this world realizes that time is crucial. So anybody who comes to listen to you, of course, come to listen to you because they understand that there is some information and there is going to be some very crucial takeaway in this session, and therefore they come to see you. So their time is precious. Please don't waste time in speaking crap. Nobody would like it. So your content has to be your base. So 50% of your job into the public speaking domain is done if your content is that strong, which means you have to be thoroughly prepared. You know what you should be talking in the first place, and you have to be stronger than your audiences, and there are no two ways about it. So try and tell a story. Okay, start by telling a story. Who knows your story better than you? So it automatically gives you an advantage in speaking something that you already know about and nobody knows. So what happens, a story telling is a concept where people directly have a connection. You're able to engage audiences. So any story, people feel this is your story, this is their story, right? So try and attempt by something like that. Try reading as much. Don't just put forth your points of view or your understanding, but also do a little bit of research into the same domain by speaking to a lot of other people. Do a little survey, inculcate that in your documents or your researches, and then have a consolidated information into a precise manner, and then deliver it. It'll make a huge difference. So content, my dear friends, is very important. Okay, so do your own research, tell a story associated with that topic, and take a lot of opinions. Don't just talk about your opinions, but do a mass survey, so that you're speaking from others' perspective as well. It's just that you are the one chosen to deliver that, correct? Okay, and lastly, you've been there, done that, you've done all of this, but yet you are very inconfident of public speaking. So what do? Right. Now, this is what is the part of an actual event, okay? I came across this concept many years back, and it really works, okay? Everything that I'm talking in this video works because I have consulted a couple of friends of mine who were very skeptical of public speaking, and I have motivated them to apply this in their lives, and it has worked for them, and I'm hoping it also works for you. So this technique is called as VAF technique, which means video, audio, and feelings. Okay, so most of you, what you feel is, most of us rather, what we feel is when we are into that fear of sphere of public speaking, which means if I'm going for an event, there are going to be these huge people with big eyes only coming to see me and my performance. Okay, now trust me, nobody comes for this fact. Nothing like this happens. Okay, this is just your mindset. Okay, you think that people are going to judge you. Nothing like this happens. Nobody has so much time in this world to come and judge somebody of the time that they've given to your session. So they're rather coming to take some informative informative session from you, and then apply in their lives that could just make their lives a little easier or better than what it is. Okay, so that kind of video is automatically, that visualization is automatically created in your mind. Second, you might also hear some negative things like, she's so boring, he's so boring, and why did I waste my time and my sleep in coming for this session, and I don't know what he's talking about, he's so bad, and I'm not going to come again and waste my money on something like this. Okay, so what happens now? There's a negative visualization, there's a negative hearing in your mind. So what happens? Check your feelings. It automatically gives you very low self-esteem. Okay, very low self-confidence. So what happens is, you feel that you're a failure already. Even before attempting that session, you feel already that you're a failure. So you don't even attempt. Okay, then your preparation is gone for a toss. You become forgetful, and you have perspiration all over your body, and your heart rate goes up, and that's where you know that you're already done for the session. So these are your feelings. Okay, so now what you have to simply do is convert this VAF, the negative VAF, into a positive. So how do you do that? In such a case, you act, you act as if you are bigger than the audience. Okay, which means you act like Lord Hanuman, where you're this huge kind of a human being, and everybody coming there listening to you are just very small people like rabbits. Okay, now don't underestimate your audiences, that they're fools, they don't know what you want to talk about, and they're just going to buy in everything that you say. But yes, to make yourself feel better, you picturize something like this in your mind, that I'm above everything, I'm superior, in a positive way. You are not going there so that people come and judge you on your presentation skills or your speaking skills. You are going there to inspire others. Okay, once this video is picturized in your mind, this visualization is done, what you do is you also create an audio in your mind. So before, something which was, how boring is he, I wasted my time, my money, you convert that into, how awesome he is, he speaks so well, and I didn't know about this is quite informative, and I wish I could speak like her, she's amazing. Something like that. So what happens now? You have converted those negative aspects into the positive aspects, and now you see your feelings. What you would feel? You would feel immense confidence. You would feel faith and belief in yourself, and now you're actually going to inspire people because you're prepared. You're prepared. So what happens once you act like that, as if you are this gigantic person going to inspire others the world over? What happens is your mind then becomes set. So what happens is, when you act like that, your mind and body has to be in sync. There is no possibility, there cannot be any synchronization, right? So once this synchronization happens, it is very easy. It becomes very easy automatically, because you've now trained your mind and your beliefs are in place that this has to work out, and it will work out, right? Okay. So the feelings are very happy, and you know that you're going to conquer this session, right? So now what happens? You enter the session, you enter that room area, stage or whatever it is where you're expected to perform, what do you do? Number one, builds a relationship with the audiences, engage them in the very start of your session, say like 10-20 minutes of your session, by asking some questions, by making them speak. Tell your story, they're automatically going to engage. I've never seen a failure where somebody's talking about this story and people don't like it. Okay, they think that it is their own story and therefore they instantly connect with it. So there are some ways that you have to break the ice. This is called ice breaking technique. Once this happens and you know that you're able to engage the audiences, it becomes very easier for you to then complete the session confidently, proactively, and with a lot of buy-in from the people. And that's your goal. Your goal is to inspire others. When you're there out, don't think that there are a vast number of people in front of you. You think that you are going to inspire each one of them, correct? So you think that it is a one-on-one session for you. So there's just one person in front of you and not so many. So that fear will automatically then be gone from your mind and your body, that you are actually speaking in front of so many people. Though you can see, I'm not telling you ignore that, but inspire. Think that you are actually making a difference to one life each. That will make a lot of difference in your sessions, okay? Second thing is speak slowly. It's very important that you speak slowly. Why? Because it helps you articulate your thoughts. Normally what we speak is very slower to what our thoughts are. We have so many thoughts running in our minds, say like 5,000 a minute. So what happens is we're not able to then precisely understand which thought to bring about for this particular session. Say like I'm thinking about my child in the house and I'm here speaking in public thinking about him, right? So I don't want to bring that thought or that worry into the session, but I want to bring something precise to the session, correct? So what happens when you speak slowly, it helps you articulate your thoughts very well and to only present then those thoughts which are relevant to the session, correct? So another technique for this you can try before the session is doodling. Anybody knows what doodling is? Doodling is basically, writing or scribbling something in your books or pages. We've all done that, like a sunflower or simply names and all that. Why do we do that? There's a reason, that because that point in time we're thinking something, and by actually simply doodling, we are able to structurize our thoughts well. This is the psychology behind doodling. So it's a good thing to do. So anybody who is very confused with their thoughts and doesn't know how to present a well structured thought can actually try and attempt doodling. Okay, so in your session, speak slowly. This will first help you structure or articulate your thoughts. Second, it will help you avoid fillers. Fillers are like a lot of people fill in these things between their conversations or their discussions or their speaking. It'll help that, because when you speak a lot of fillers, it means you are inconfident and you don't know what you're talking about, right? You're not well prepared. So it helps you avoid that as well. All right. Then lastly, some people stand in one place and talk, some people roam. Okay. Now I'm personally more comfortable by not being in one place, but having a small round or small walk wherever I go. So, but I have realized that some people kind of might get distracted to this idea. So therefore, I have made it a point that even if I try attempting walking while I'm speaking, it has to be minimal. It should not be distracting to the audiences, because my main point is not distraction, but to put forth a message. Okay, so public speaking is not about how well you speak, it's about how well you are able to exchange those thoughts to others, so much so that they're just not there to get motivated by what you see or what you say, but are also able to implement that in their further lives. All right. Okay, so I hope my techniques will be of some help to you, because it has helped some of my friends and some close ones. I'm hoping that it is going to be beneficial to you as well. Apart from this, very small things, other things if you want to try are some things which I'll just tell you very quickly. These are like simulation things, simulation technique, which means that you act as if it is a real event altogether much before the actual event. Now, this is a technique that is applied in multinational corporations to understand human behavior in certain circumstances, if they're put into circumstances which are not the real circumstances, but as if the real situation is in front of them. So you can practice this by actually speaking in a few set of people who are your well-wishers. Okay, now these people don't have to be your very close friends whom you know are not going to give you constructive feedback. Second, they should not be people whom you really hate, because otherwise you're only going to hate everything that you say and it is not going to take you anywhere. So these people have to be your well-wishers who will give you honest review, and that will only help you improvise on your public speaking skills. The second thing which you can do is practice in front of the mirror. Now, mirror is your best friend, my dear friends, trust me. And you know, we all look here in front of the mirror 100 times before we leave to ensure that we're looking good enough to satisfy ourselves, right? Likewise, it is for public speaking. If you do that in front of the mirror, please see how you talk, how you walk, look at your gestures. It is going to just give you a reflection of what you actually are, right? So practice that, please. It is going to give you an amazing feedback. And lastly, nothing can beat practice, my dear friends. You know, I remember going for a drama session a couple of months back. This was a Marathi play basically, and this actor was stupendous with his performance, his dialogues, delivery, and all of that. And he was just flawless, absolutely. I happened to meet him backstage, and I questioned him, "How do you manage to deliver such humongous dialogue so effortlessly?" And he told me, "Madam, this is my 144th attempt in the last 5 years." So this has made him so flawless in his performance. So you see, it takes enormous practice. You know, if you do that over and over again, your mind makes it a habit of completely in synchronization with that particular practice. So likewise, if you practice public speaking, it is going to flow within your system very naturally. And don't forget that this is not going to be this is going to be something which will happen overnight or in a span of 3 months or something like that. It will at least take 6 months for you to be a good speaker, if not an effective speaker. So effective public speaking, of course, comes with more and more practice. The more and more you practice, the more and more confident you will become. Okay, so quickly to summarize everything that we said in this session, because it's been a long one, I want to ensure that you have gist of the takeaway from this session. So yes, number one, set an intention to practice, because it gives you competitive advantage to your career and to your overall skills and personality. Number two is don't fear, be childlike, and consider that an attempt and not an episode of fear. Three, overcome the language barrier by actually practicing English with a lot of other people who knows English, if that is your constraint. Four is be strong with your content, because nothing beats that. And lastly, act as if you're superior to your audiences. Talk slowly in the session so that you're able to articulate your thoughts well. As try and possible, stand in one place or keep your walk as minimal as possible. And be thoroughly prepared and be confident, because if I told you that if you're able to do that, you're actually going to superpower the most fearful fears of this universe, and going to be amongst the few of the people who are going to master the act of public speaking, and that will be amazing, right? Please practice that, and remember one thing. I'm going to tell you very interesting before ending the session, something about fear. Now, it's been proven psychologically that there are only two real fears in this universe, and that is the fear of very loud noise and the fear of falling down. Now, because a child only recognizes these two fears. He doesn't understand anything else. He doesn't understand failure. He doesn't understand water failure. He doesn't understand any other failure or fear for that matter, right? So he only knows two. So these are real proven fears. Everything else, all other kind of fears in this universe are learned and programmed. Basically, these are chemical locha, so to say, so these are programming of your mindset right from the beginning of your very life. So therefore it is ingrained into your system, and therefore that kind of behavior comes out. So something that can be learned, of course, by default can also be unlearned. There's only a mind shift change that needs to be done. So try and shift your mind by first setting an intention and then actually practicing it. So yes, thank you so much. This was Priya at Infinite Potential, and I hope this video is going to be helpful to all of you, and I'm looking forward to your experiences in the comments section below. So please comment how it goes for you, and I hope to see all of you becoming amazing speakers in the next couple of months. Thank you so much. Love you.